I hope you had a fantastic week. It's crazy to think that my long-term account hit a record high. I hope yours did too. Now, I want to go over my 140th Gap and Go trades for the week of August 17th through the 21st. I will go over price targets, have a gap recap from August 10th through the 14th, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is Boeing. We ended the week at $231.67, up 0.58%. This is where we are. To the north side takes us to one level of resistance and a potential take profit area at roughly 232.35-ish. This is an old line that I drew out, which was the middle of the trend, which has now turned into resistance. Now, above that, at 3 standard deviations, takes us back to an area we've been to in 2025 at 233.79. And down the road, we're looking at 235.10. To the south side takes us to roughly 229.68. Let's turn that blue. And because these two lines are so close to the middle of the trend, I'll just delete this one for now. But I marked that one out how long ago? Okay, that's been weeks and weeks and weeks ago. And that was for the week of Monday, May 28th. Option R to reset. Let's delete that. Negative 2 standard deviations takes us to 227.04, 225.70, and then down the road we are looking at 224.33. Turn on the VWAP, you get different levels through here. Many different buy and sell signals, especially on the different time frames. Now looking left, we started the week here, we dropped, bounced off a line I drew on Monday the 10th as the middle of the trend line, and it hit, actually came down to here it looks like. Let me move this out of the way. Yeah, almost to that line. And then we bounced because down here is support, up here is resistance. There's a take profit area, take profit, take profit, profit. Anywhere near this line is a sell signal, and then we hit it here. This is a potential buy-in area, or potential stop loss area. Depends on where you bought in. But always slicing through the middle of the trend. Now, by the end of the week, Boeing could get to 225.16 for the middle of the trend, and then the outer band could take us down to 219.81. Not sure if we'll get there, but there's a potential. And then we have this gap at 216.83 to fill. So watch out for that. The next one up is NIO. We ended the week at $4.52, up 0.44%. The middle of the trend is now here. So that's 453. That's resistance. This is an area where we could start turning around, grinding sideways. If we go to the north side, 3 standard deviations, 456 take profit, 459 potential take profit area as well as a sell signal. Depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get in, get up, get out, then that is your signal for the day. And every day it changes. Now that is now the middle of the trend. That is support. We could grind. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Did I write 453? No. That's just 2 standard deviations. Delete. This is the middle of the trend where we could grind sideways, so we can fall down and bounce off of that. Very close to this line that I drew already. Since it's so close, let's just delete that. I drew that on July 24th, and we're just retracing back to this level. The yellow line was in 2020. Let's see, this is 26, 25, and that's 24. All right, negative 2 standard deviations, 441. 438, 435. This is down the road, these lines. Price will always stay within -2 and 2 standard deviations. It could wick to the outskirts of that and then fall right back in because the numbers constantly change. All right, what happened the previous week? Oh, look at that. We hit right here a wick that took us to resistance and then boom, flushed down. This is a clear buy signal, a buy signal, and then going up, that's resistance, went through, but then fell back down, and then that's your sell signal, chopping along the middle of the trend line. This gap closed. This is a buy signal, buy signal, buy signal, and then this is a sell signal on the way up. Obviously, if you wait to get to this level, sometimes you never hit, sometimes you do. And then if you sell out too early and it hits, you're like, ah, gosh darn it. It happens to all of us. Now, what happened with these gaps? So this one, oops, Command Z, reset. So we went up, and then what comes up must come down, and we hit on Monday the 10th, delete. All right, I have no idea when these gaps are going to close, but I know they will eventually when they get close to where I'm drawing them out. This touched down at 450, so that is no longer in play to the south side, no longer a landmine. Look at all the gaps to the upside that we have to hit whenever we reverse course. And I think that's it to the downside. All right, so that's done. This is TSLY. We ended the week at 22.03. Oh, yes, I have a stop order in place here. Let me just delete this. I'm in this trade here. And I thought I'll just set my sell order here and see if I hit it at some point. All right, we ended the week at 22.03. Resistance, or one level anyway, to 22.25, 22.40, and then at roughly 22.55. The middle of the trend line is now here. What is that? Oh, I bought in on this line here. And we're just going to reverse to that. It could bounce, price could bounce off of this or fall down to -2 SD at 21.66, 21.51, and roughly 21.36. So last week we were at 21.55. Thank goodness we rebounded. This thing was just bleeding out. So we were here, and then this is resistance. This is definitely resistance, resistance. And of course, what happens at resistance? People take their profits and they run, they lock in and they leave, and they did. And then boom, this is support on the way down. And then there was a buy-in. So from, let's just say from here, I got to turn off my magnet, to here is roughly a 4% return. That's good for TSLY. Do we have gaps down below? No, this is very gappy, so I don't even draw it. Up next is Nike. We ended the week at $40.73. Resistance, 40.89. This will be resistance here as well. Many levels of resistance in between. 41.28, 41.48, 41.68 rather. And to the south side, we would retrace back to 40.50, potential buy-in, potential stop loss here, 40.20, potential buy-in, stop loss, 40.09. Now looking left, what happened? We were here, This is resistance, fell down, and on the way down, support, support, buy in here, ran up. This is a clear buy signal, a clear buy signal. And this is a clear sell signal on the way up, sell signal on the way up, sell signal here as well. Now we have a gap to look forward to the upside. I use these to get out and sell. And then the gaps to the south side for a potential buy-in area. I love the gaps. 43.15 to be consistent, give or take. Now this one, I just drew this, didn't know when it was going to touch, and it touched right there on Thursday the 8th, no longer in play, to the upside at 42.58. We have this gap and that one also to look forward to. That is it for Nike. Oops. And the last one, ooh, look at RIVN. What happened? Bleeding out, it looks like. Now let's look at what happened. Well, first your price targets. This is the next middle of the trend line. This is going to be resistance as well as this. But since this is so close to where I just marked out my lines, I'm going to delete this one. And this one I marked out on May the 1st, option R. And now we're just retracing back to that level. So let's delete it. I don't need any of these lines. I write them out for people who are just learning how to chart. It's very important. You learn your levels, no matter how you figure it out, whatever you mark. I like it. And then once you figure this out, you don't need it. Resistance, 1571, 1582, 1591. Support, 1531, 1521, and then back down to 1511 for another potential stop loss area or potential buy-in area. What happened the previous week? We started here. Okay, we went up to, oh, look at this. I love the wick. When I set sell limit orders, sometimes I set it high at since I know typically it's going to stay within 2 standard deviations, I set out typically at 3 or 4 to make some better money. And then if I don't think it's going to hit, or I just want to get out of a trade, or that is my potential stop loss in a sense, because I don't set them. If you have a tiny account, you definitely want to set a stop loss or you will get wrecked. Wrecked, I'm telling you. And I don't do it. I weather the storm. And I've done very, very, very well. Okay. So we need to go over this very quickly here. This is resistance, resistance, resistance. Take profit. What happens after resistance? Of course, it's going to sell off. And then we hit it again up here. On the way up is resistance. Okay, and we hit resistance, fell back down. Buy signal, did not bounce. Buy signal here as well. Respected this line and off to the races. Sell signal here. All right, I need to clean this one up. I marked out the gap and I extended out. I just don't know when it's going to hit, and so that's where you have to clean this up. This is no longer a threat to our account. 1548 is done. Boom. Okay. And as you can see, we're in a downward channel, but we have nice gaps to the upside to look forward to whenever we reverse course. Now, by the end of this week, oops, the outer bands could take us to 1401 and even 1483. The middle of the trend, 1442. Some numbers for you. And you know what? Who had earnings this week? Or am I thinking something else? Let me go through this really quickly. Nope, it's other tickers. I look at so many tickers that I get them confused. But I can't believe I've done 140 of these. That's the last 140 weeks. And I've gotten, well, I should say I've whittled the list down to only 5. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, that does it for me. If there is a ticker that you would like me to go over, please let me know. And just be careful because we had a very, very profitable week. We hit record highs, many of us did. So there's going to be a pullback. There always is. I anticipate it. And that presents an opportunity to buy. So I hope you have some dry powder on the side and can get in at some better prices and dollar cost average if you're stuck in some trades. All right, have a great trading week.